We want to get the best specialists in the field, scientists, researchers, investigators, and we want to give them the latest technology, cutting-edge technology, to aid them in their quest for evidence.
Thing that became very evident during the daylight hours is that I start to notice that there are many of these large hollowed out tree stumps.
Well, for me, the finding that we had in Kentucky was incredibly intriguing and also pretty shocking. The fact that I had collected a soil sample for eDNA and sent it to a very respected geneticist out at UCLA.
At 51, Mireya Mayor has finally confirmed the shocking truth we've all been wondering about. Could this be the moment that changes everything we thought we knew? Let's reveal the latest discovery that will change the Bigfoot story forever. Tracking Bigfoot's footsteps. Dr. Mireya Mayor leads a team called Expedition Bigfoot, and they are on a mission to track down Bigfoot, a creature many people think is just a story. Dr. Mayor has been quiet about her work for a long time, but now she's ready to share what she and her team have found. Imagine being in the woods and suddenly wondering, what's that? Dr. Mayor found herself in such a moment, stepping back cautiously, then moving closer to get a better look. It's not every day that a respected scientist like Dr. Mayor gets involved in searching for creatures like Bigfoot. Usually it's people who love conspiracies or those who are seen as a bit odd who chase after these legends, but Dr. Mayor's involvement is making people sit up and take notice. Before we dive deeper into what Dr. Mayor uncovered, it's clear that what she found in those dark woods was far more than just a story. And it might just change everything we know. Throughout the history of North America, stories of Bigfoot have been around. Native American tribes have passed down tales of this big, hidden creature from one generation to the next. These stories have kept people's interest alive and spread far across the continent, even up to Canada. A lot of people believe Bigfoot is real. With new types of animals being discovered all the time, it's not hard to think there could be others still hidden. The problem is there hasn't been solid proof, and that's what keeps Bigfoot from being recognized for real. There are tons of photos and videos out there, but they're usually blurry and not very convincing. Plus, there have been a lot of fake stories and tricks that have made it even harder for people to trust what they see. Dr. Mayor taking on this search brings a lot of credibility to the idea of Bigfoot. She's making sure to do things right so that her findings are taken seriously. She doesn't want to be dismissed like many others before her who claim to have seen Bigfoot. Her team is using old-style 16 NLR cameras, which might help provide clear proof if they do run into Bigfoot. Heading into the thick forests of North America is no small task. The team is surrounded by nothing but nature, trees, mountains, and long, empty roads. Dr. Mayor has even talked about how scary it would be to meet Bigfoot face to face. According to many stories, Bigfoot is supposed to be over 7 feet tall and weighs more than 12,200 pounds. This creature is covered in thick fur and is very strong. The team knows they need to be very careful. Dr. Mayor really believes in this mission. She's thought a lot about it and is ready to face whatever comes. The first thing the team needs to do is check out places where they think Bigfoot might be hiding. They look around carefully to make sure they're not missing anything. Since Bigfoot might be active at night, the team goes out after dark. This makes their search harder because it's tough to see anything in the dark woods. They have to be extra careful where they step and keep an eye out all the time, but they have a hidden weapon, thermal imaging cameras. These cameras let them see the warmth of living things in the dark, which is a huge help. It's almost like having supervision that can spot heat instead of light. Using this technology, the team hopes to finally get a clear picture of Bigfoot. They carefully scan every part of the forest, making sure they don't miss anything. Their hard work might soon pay off. One night, their cameras pick up a big heat signal coming from a tree far away. The team feels a rush of excitement and a bit of fear. Could it be Bigfoot? They've never been this close before. The equipment is so good that they think they can even see the creature's eyes glowing in the thermal image. This moment is critical. The team gathers around to look at the image they've captured. They're trying to figure out if they've really found Bigfoot or if it's something else. Everyone is on edge, knowing this could be a huge discovery. Just when they thought they had seen it all, the team's next find pulled them even deeper into the unknown. Strange noises in the dark. The search for Bigfoot has been long and filled with more questions than answers, but with Dr. Mireya Mayor and her team's determination and new technology, they might finally be able to provide some real evidence. This could change everything we know about Bigfoot and prove once and for all whether this legendary creature is real or just a part of folklore. The team continues their night watches, hoping their next expedition will bring them face to face with the strange Bigfoot. In a thick, shadowy forest, a group of explorers felt uneasy. They were surrounded by the sounds of nature, but something extra was out there with them. As they moved through the dark trees, they noticed unusual noises coming from above. These weren't the typical sounds you'd expect in a forest. Instead, they were deep and resonant, suggesting something big was nearby. The team stopped in their tracks. The atmosphere was charged with tension as they realized something large might be watching them from the branches. It seemed as though a large creature had heard them and climbed up a tree to either hide or get a better look at them. This thought made everyone's pulse quicken. Were they in danger? As the group discussed what to do next, they decided it was best to move to a spot where they could see better. They hoped to catch a glimpse of whatever was making those deep sounds. The idea that they might be dealing with Bigfoot was both exciting and frightening. Using their equipment, they scanned the area and noticed a heat signature fading from the tree where the sounds had come from. This was unusual because not many animals could climb a tree quickly, especially on a cold night like this. The creature must have been strong and fast, which narrowed down the possibilities of what it could be. The explorers decided to follow the heat trail, thinking this might be their chance to see something amazing. With cameras ready, they pushed through the underbrush, driven by a mix of fear and thrill. They were determined to find out what was out there with them in the forest. As they continued their search, they stumbled upon a strange sight. Several trees had been knocked over, forming a triangle. This was odd and made them wonder if a storm or some other natural event had caused it. Or more unsettling, was it the work of the creature they were tracking? Undeterred, the team moved toward a logging site that was known for strange occurrences. This part of the forest had a history of unexplained accidents and disappearances, adding an eerie feeling to their search. Bryce, one of the team members, was especially eager to see if they could uncover anything new about these incidents. As they searched the site, the feeling of being watched grew stronger. It was unnerving, but they tried to focus on the task at hand. They were looking for any signs of Bigfoot, or at least clues to explain the strange events that had happened in this area. They decided to concentrate their search on a part of the site that hadn't been explored much before. Perhaps they would find some footprints or other evidence that had been overlooked. Their goal was to gather as much information as possible, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. After hours of searching, their efforts led them to a riverbed where they picked up another heat signature. This was a big moment. It meant they were on the right track. The heat signature moved through the woods, confirming that they were not alone. This discovery was both scary and exciting. Mireya, another explorer, mentioned seeing the reflection of the creature's eyes in the light of their flashlights. This was a chilling detail, but it was also the kind of evidence they had hoped to find. It meant they were close to discovering something truly unusual in the forest. As the night wore on, the team discussed their findings. They had seen and heard things that suggested a large, unknown creature was with them in the forest. The overturned trees, the heat signatures, and the glowing eyes in the darkness all pointed to something out of the ordinary. As more clues started to add up, so did the strange feeling that something big was watching them, waiting to show itself. Deep into Bigfoot's trail. Their adventure in the forest was far from a typical night out in nature. It was filled with unexpected events and potential discoveries. As they packed up their gear to head home, they knew they had stories to tell. They also knew they'd be back to explore more, driven by the night's intriguing encounters. This experience in the forest had tested their nerves, but also sparked a deep curiosity. What was out there? How many more hidden things did the forest hold? These questions would keep them coming back, eager to uncover whatever was hidden in the deep, dark woods. As they walked through the thick trees, the feeling that something was watching them didn't slow down their strong curiosity and determination to prove Bigfoot really exists. They found a big and lingering warm spot which convinced them Bigfoot was indeed there. This find was exciting, but also made them nervous because they had finally confirmed to themselves that they were capable of tracking down Bigfoot. Yet they now faced the reality of what this meant. They didn't know how Bigfoot might react to being seen, and they still had to find their way out of the deep, dark woods back to the safety of their town. Bigfoot wasn't the only danger in these woods. They could easily get hurt just by tripping or falling because the forest floor was uneven and covered with branches and leaves. As they continued walking, they started to wonder if the strange noises and the warm spots they had noticed were just their imaginations playing tricks on them. This doubt made them even more determined to search every part of the forest for real, physical signs of Bigfoot. They thought about the possibility that something else was in the forest with them. With so many wild animals living in the woods, each potentially dangerous, it was natural for them to feel scared. No animal they knew matched what they had seen through their heat-sensing cameras. Mireya, trying to manage her flashlight and thermal camera at the same time, remarked that the bright eyes they captured on their gear were unlike any animal's eyes, suggesting they were dealing with something very unusual. Realizing this, the team knew they had to pull together and encourage each other to keep going. They needed to keep their spirits up and support one another if they were going to continue their search. They had found a lot of clues so far, which helped them feel more confident. When they heard about potential signs of Bigfoot in the forests of Northern California, including 2 big nests found hidden away, they quickly made plans to go there, excited by the chance to discover more. Examining these nests was a chance to learn something new. When they found strange hairs in the nests, their first thought was that these hairs might belong to typical forest animals like wolves or bears, since those animals were known to live in the area. However, when the hair was sent off for tests, the results were confusing. The hairs didn't match any known animal species. The scientists who looked at the samples couldn't figure out what kind of creature the hairs came from. But the Bigfoot team had their own thoughts about it, feeling this was an important clue. Though they couldn't figure out exactly who or what the hairs belonged to, they decided to keep them as important samples to compare with any other evidence they might find in their search in Northern California. This unknown result didn't bother the team at all. Instead, it pushed them to keep looking through the forest, hoping to find more clues and maybe even meet Bigfoot face to face one day. Their exploration took them deeper into the woods, where they kept their eyes open for any sign of the creature. Each broken branch, each unusual footprint, and each unexplained sound added to their belief that they were on the right track. They shared their findings with each other, building a map of possible Bigfoot activity in the area. The further they walked into the forest, the more strange things they found, each one bringing them closer to an answer they weren't sure they were ready for. Strange night in Bigfoot's forest. Nighttime in the forest brought new challenges. The darkness made it harder to see, and the sounds of the forest seemed louder and closer. They took turns keeping watch while the others tried to get some rest, knowing that they needed to be alert for any danger. The next morning, they followed a trail that looked promising. It led to a clearing where the ground was pressed down, as if something large had been lying there. They took soil and plant samples, hoping to find more hair or perhaps skin cells. Every bit of evidence collected was carefully bagged and labeled for analysis. Their path through Northern California's forests was filled with ups and downs. Some days they felt sure they were close to finding Bigfoot. Other days, everything seemed like a wild goose chase. But the sense of adventure and the hope of proving Bigfoot's existence kept them motivated. After weeks in the forest, the team gathered their findings and headed back to analyze everything. They went through photos, videos, and all the physical samples they had collected. Each piece of evidence was examined by experts in biology, wildlife, and other fields to try to get a clear picture of what they were dealing with. The conclusion was still unclear, but the team felt they had made important progress. They planned to return to the forest with better equipment, hoping that next time they might finally get the proof they were looking for. The story of their search spread, attracting interest from other Bigfoot enthusiasts and even skeptics. Some people were convinced by the evidence the team had gathered, while others doubted and needed more proof. But no matter what others thought, the team was determined to keep searching, driven by their experiences. In the end, the search for Bigfoot wasn't just about finding a creature, it was about exploring the unknown and challenging themselves to keep pushing forward, no matter how tough the conditions or how elusive the answers might be. They knew the woods held more things to uncover, and they were eager to return, ready for whatever lay ahead. After finding what might be a Bigfoot sample, they would have solid evidence to support their exploration and a way to learn more about the creatures living in the wilderness. This wasn't their only find in the woods, however. The team also met a witness near a lumber site who shared a chilling tale. He described how a group of forest workers ran out of the woods, terrified by what they heard. The sounds, he said, were like a woman's screams, but there were no women present at the site that day. This added an eerie layer to the whole situation. No official records of this event exist, but the story lingered in the minds of those who worked near the forest that day. This unsettling news deeply worried Mireya and her team. They wondered what was behind those screams. Was it an animal or something, or someone else? Curious and a bit apprehensive, they decided to investigate further by heading to the location of the incident, Prince of Wales Island. The catch was that this would take them to Alaska, a vast and wild place that seemed a perfect habitat for a creature like Bigfoot. Alaska's sparse human population and largely unexplored wilderness make it a haven for wildlife, where animals reign supreme with only occasional human sightings. Determined to form their own opinions and verify the stories they'd heard, the team planned to focus their search on 60 acres of secluded land on a remote mountain. This area was not far from the lumber site, but was still deep within the wilderness. As they flew over the planned search area, they understood why it was considered a hotspot. Mireya called this place the Galapagos of the North because of its abundant, healthy predators and even larger population of prey. The team was eager to start their investigation. They knew that the dense, untamed wilderness could hold answers to the eerie screams and possibly confirm the presence of Bigfoot. Setting up base camp, they prepared for days of careful searching, using cameras, sound recorders, and other equipment to gather any evidence of unusual activity. Is Mireya Mayor's discovery about Bigfoot real proof, or just another wild claim in the endless search for the truth? Tell us what you think, and remember to like and subscribe for more.